Independence Day in Nigeria, and on today's segment of business and finance, I will be looking at, and I'm not alone today, but we will be looking at where Nigeria is presently economically, where we were at the past, and then what is the future. And of course, generally, we will be seeing what is the hope for Nigeria when it comes to our finances, when it comes to the business world, and when it comes to our economy in general. And Rachel won't be doing business and finance today alone with me. In the studio today, I have Dr. Dan Dagbon. Nice to have you, sir.
Yeah, nice having you, and thank you for having me.
Yes, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I mean, happy independence to you, sir.
Yeah, same to you.
Yes.
Although I cannot see any green on you.
I tried my best. Yes. Okay, sir, I would like us to talk about Nigeria, our economy precisely, the past, the present, and the future. And of course, if there is any hope for our economy as the present situation is out there for us to see, the economic policies, both the fiscal, the monetary, our trade and our currency and everything, agriculture, our health sector, and all that encompasses what Nigeria is made of economically. But then before I would throw out my questions to you, sir, I would like to just have a little background, and I wouldn't call it a comparison, but of course, Nigeria is not the only country in the world. We have other world economy that we are looking at. And of course, it is important for us to learn from them, to know where they got it right and what is the way forward for us. Are their policies what us trying to replicate in Nigeria, or is it one of those things we would like to look? And then I would like to go to China, for example. I mean, we consume a lot of their goods. We consume, I mean, everything. You check the back and then you see made in China. That's basically where we are in Nigeria. And then I would like to start from their governance, because just as like Nigeria, they transition from communist to federal, and also we had a period where we were under colonial rule, and then we transitioned to federal system. And then from when China got their independence in 1948, they started seeing significant amount of economical growth in there about 1979, which gives a period of about 29 years. We're looking at 3 decades before significant growth. And then same for Nigeria, we got our independence in 1960, and then fast forward in the late 1960s to the early 70s, we saw significant amount of growth to the point that we were the wealthiest African country. And then we kept on going, but along the line, I think we started getting it wrong at some point. And then for China, the growth just kept on going to the point that they had over 800 million people taking themselves out of poverty because they were able to balance their economy. And I believe that this is very significant, because when you look at the period of economic growth, ours was very fast compared to China. And then when it comes to solid minerals, we can see that China have iron ore, we have iron ore, they have coal, Nigeria also have coal, and then we have hydrocarbon, which is our natural gas, and we also see that China have all of these. And then we are seeing that there must be something that China is getting right. And this is where my first question, sir, is coming to you. Like, looking at the background now, I might have used China as an example. However, I want us to go around the world. What other economy have we seen thrive from nothing to something? Where did they get it right?
Yeah, thank you again for having me.
You're welcome, sir.
You know, looking at the global economy and
Yes.
economics generally, you know, an economy is being said that an economy is seen as a nation or as an enclave that has variables that are interrelating with each other. We call them
Yes.
economic agents.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a very simple model of an economy. An economy has individuals who own factors of production that they sell to the second agent, which are firms, which buy these factors of production
Yeah.
and pay for them. And what are these factors of production? Land, labor, capital and
Capital, yes.
entrepreneurship. So they sell it, and the firms, which are the companies, so to say, firms or companies,
Yes.
they buy these factors of production and they convert them to finished goods to sell it back to the individuals, which are households,
Yes.
and they buy them. So this is the two-sector economy. Then when you add the third, which is government, so government regulates what happens between the firms and the households, and the firms and the households pay taxes to government, and government provides the enabling environment for the households and the firms.
True.
So there is a cycle of relationship. So now, when you have, that is the three-sector economy, having the
Yes,
three
yes,
agents. So
yes.
now, when you bring the fourth sector, which is our foreign transaction, that's when you have a closed economy, you don't have the fourth
Yes.
sector. But when you open the economy, you have the third agent, which is import and export.
Yes.
So what comes in and what goes out
True.
from the country.
True.
So the net of these foreign transactions might be plus to our economy or minus. So we have more of the exports than the imports, then it's a plus to our economy. But we have more of the imports than the export,
Than
is a
the
minus
export, yes.
to our economy.
Have a deficit.
So that's an economy.
Yes.
So, and what happens within this economic agents will now make an economy grow. So now, do our firms convert those factors of production that they buy from the households? And do we convert them and sell them to within the economy, or we export them? So now that's what is happening with other economies. So other economies, they find that they are able to buy these factors of production from their households, convert them to finished goods, use them, sell them within the economy, and export them, which is a plus to the economy.
Yes.
So that is what we are unable to do in this country. Other countries have sourced for these factors of production internally.
Internally, yeah.
Look at the best way of converting them. They are converting them reasonably and then at a very lower cost. That they export them to other, they use them in their countries, they consume in their countries, and they export them to other countries at a cheaper amount. And some of them are being exported to Nigeria. And when you compare those exports,
Yes.
exporting that we import to Nigeria
True.
with what we produce in Nigeria, find that those things are even a lot cheaper because the cost of production is a lot cheaper because they are looking at efficiency, and that is
True.
what we're lacking in our economy.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, sir. I want to move now to the next question. And the question is, what are the mistakes, like significant mistakes we have made in the past? Like one, which is very obvious, of course, is what we have done with agriculture. I believe that agriculture should have been way more than what we are, where we are. And I would like to use the United States of America as an example because we are looking at a population that is more than us. However, they have food security. And we're looking at just 2% of the population of the US into agriculture, whereas we can have statistics here in Nigeria that at least 70% of the Nigerian household are into farming and about 40% are into livestock farming. Now, over the years, what are the major economic mistakes we have made? The ones that if we had gotten them right at a specific period of time, we wouldn't be struggling, be it in our oil sector, be it in the agriculture sector, be it in our solid minerals, be it in the health sector, every sector that has the potential of generating massive income to the country. What major mistakes did we make ever since we started existing as an independent country?
See, the basic mistake that we make, despite the fact that I think about 70 or 65% of our GDP is being contributed from the agricultural sector.
Yes.
The basic mistake we make is that we don't look at the value chain in agriculture.
True.
Because I talked about the issue of getting the raw materials
Yes.
from the households and
Yes.
you convert them.
True.
So the value chain is not really, being focused on to see, okay, from the primary produce that we have,
Yes.
how to convert them, looking at the efficiency angle,
Yes.
lower cost of production, and see how we can sell within the economy, and see how whether we can even export.
Yes.
But you see, primarily, we go into agriculture, which is, substantially subsistence farming,
Yes.
so to say.
Yes.
So unlike the US, that you have
True.
one person with so many hectares of
So
land
many, yeah.
that is on commercial basis.
True.
But you see, our agriculture in this country is mostly not on commercial basis.
It's
It's
not.
what you farm to eat with your household.
Exactly. Yes.
And then that's what is happening in most villages and so on and so forth. So you eat and you take a little, take to the market for others, and you have very few big players in the agricultural sector.
Yes.
In which that is an aspect we have to look at in this country, apart from other environmental issues we're facing today, like the issue of the insecurity and so on and so forth. But you see the value chain to see, okay, if you're taking potatoes, what is the breed of that potato you're trying to farm?
Yes.
And what is the value chain of the potato up to conversion?
Yes.
Up to the marketing of the finished product and so on and so forth. So that is how economy will definitely grow. But you see, sometimes we go into agriculture, we have this produce, and we export the primary
produce,
produce,
rather than the finished.
and then they convert them there.
Yes, and bring it back to us. True.
So you can see the chain of reaction, and we are not converting. So definitely,
yes,
we'll miss the issue of creating jobs.
We will.
We miss the issue of even for the money that the firm will get that will be used within the economy. So it's being used elsewhere. They have jobs that are being created elsewhere.
For what we are able to
and
give
probably
to
you can see maybe the value that they are paying for the price that they're paying for our produce might be even a lot cheaper.
Yes.
For instance, I just heard about the issue of the Niger Republic, the uranium that they're selling to France.
Yeah.
Initially, they were selling the uranium. Is it 60 or 80 dollars per whatever? But now they've taken it to the market rate, which is 200, something $200 or something like that. I heard about. I think I read it somewhere. So, but the point is that you find that sometimes you can export a lot cheaper than the market rate.
True.
So, and then they get it there and they convert it to finished good.
Yes, and they bring it
just
back
like what is happening in the oil sector,
True.
in which you know that Nigeria is a monolithic economy,
Yeah.
being controlled by the crude oil. We sell the crude oil, they convert the crude oil
refined oil
to refined
us.
oil, bring it back to our country,
Yeah.
we buy, and that's what is affecting our dollars.
True. True, sir. And okay, now, I mean, we've gone to the past, the present, and then the now, sir. What are we getting right currently in our economy? If we're going to look at the bits and pieces of some things that are flowing, what can we say in Nigeria at this moment that we are getting it right economically?
That's a very difficult, very difficult question to answer. What we're getting,
What we're getting right?
because I think because we have problem of leadership in this country.
We do.
You see, we're not focused on efficiency. We're not focused on merit. We're focused on some other sentimental issues. So we're not getting the best. Our appointments are not based on the best. I think recently you can attest to the fact that the person who is leading Singapore now, if you look at the criteria that were set for him to be engaged or for him to be voted as the leader of Singapore, was something else.
True.
Integrity was one of the key things there. We don't have that. Today we are battling up and down with our president's identity, his certificate.
True.
So it's so hard that I would just say, probably what we're getting it right is that we're trying our best.
We're trying our best. We're getting it right at trying our best.
We're trying our best, but I think a lot of things are not.
A lot of
because
things.
we don't look at the main issue.
Yeah.
You see, we have very few of our leaders that are focused on the true macroeconomic objectives.
Yes.
Of seeing that my actions and inactions will definitely influence unemployment in this country. My actions and inactions will to influence the prices of goods and services in this country. My actions and inactions will be able to influence economic growth in this country. My actions and inactions will be able to affect even the balance of payments, whether what we export and what we import.
Exactly.
You understand? So we are not looking at those macroeconomic objectives, and that is why we don't have a sense of direction.
So it seems
we don't have a sense of direction.
Yes.
So at the state level, at the federal level, our leaders don't look at, in public finance, I'm a professional in public finance. Public finance, why you spend money is for you to make sure that, yes, you create jobs.
True.
More people are working, more people are, whether the private sector, but there's economic growth.
Yeah.
3, You should make sure that, yes, inflation is not that high.
Yes,
People are able to now
exactly.
go to the market and buy with what they have.
True.
3, you have to see how you can reduce poverty. So your spending must have an impact on the populace.
True.
But our leaders are not looking at, that's why they spend uselessly without any focus, because they are not focusing on those macroeconomic objectives to see how they can increase your well-being as an individual.
Yeah.
And that's what they're not getting right.
So what is the way forward, sir?
The way
What do you think we can start doing to get things right?
Honestly, the way forward is for our leaders to really start gaining knowledge of economics, of public finance. Because I think they are not knowledgeable in the direction of spending money, in the direction of government intervention. You know, we had the issue, you know, initially the economies are being left in the invisible hands. What we call the invisible hands, that is the forces of market,
Yes.
of demand and supply, that is
Yes.
market forces.
Yes.
So, but you know, that thing didn't work, you know, after the Second World War. After the Second World War, we had a lot of unsold stock
Yeah.
by all the big economies. We have the economies were down, went into depression,
Yes.
and then the Keynesian economists now saw that no, government must intervene. in the economy.
Yes. True.
So the intervention of the economy is for them to inject a kind of stimulus that will further grow with the
Creative
economy.
demand and supply.
So now, the Keynesian economists now looked at, okay, if government is intervening by their fiscal policy or monetary policy, it should have an effect on the economy.
Sure.
So, and that is the aspect that I think our governments, whether at the federal and state level,
Yeah.
should be able to now know about the Keynesian economy, or the Keynesian economic theory, so to say, on when you're spending, when you're intervening in the economy, look at the impact. And the impact is basically on improving the well-being of the citizens.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I wish we can go on about the way forward for Nigeria, but this is how far we can go. And thank you to our viewer out there. Thank you. And with what our guests have said, what Dr. Dank have just said, is for you to know that there is hope for Nigeria as long as we have leaders that are willing to get it right and then take the next step forward to growing our economy to the level that we can be able to compete globally. Goodbye.